Shocking revelations. Kevin Federline's disturbing claims about Britney Spears. What we're about to reveal will absolutely shock you. Kevin Federline has just dropped a bombshell that's sending shockwaves through Hollywood. The claims he's making about Britney Spears and their sons are nothing short of terrifying. Stay with us, because what you're about to hear gets even more disturbing as we go deeper into this story. In a stunning new memoir that's causing massive controversy across the entertainment world, Kevin Federline, Britney Spears' ex-husband, has made some absolutely chilling allegations about the pop icon's behavior around their two teenage sons. And folks, these aren't just casual observations. These are deeply troubling claims that paint a disturbing picture. According to excerpts from Federline's upcoming tell-all book titled You Thought You Knew, which were recently published by the New York Times, the 47-year-old backup dancer turned reality star describes incidents that would make any parent's blood run cold. Federline claims that on multiple occasions, not just once, but repeatedly, their sons Sean Preston, who is now 20 years old, and Jaden James, now 19, would wake up in the middle of the night to an absolutely haunting sight. Picture this. You're sleeping peacefully in your bed, and suddenly you sense something. You open your eyes, and there in the doorway stands a shadowy figure, completely silent, just watching you sleep in the darkness. But here's where it gets even more disturbing. According to Federline's account, that figure was their mother, Britney Spears, and she was allegedly holding a knife in her hand. Can you imagine waking up to that? The memoir describes how she would stand there silently, watching her sleeping children. And when they'd awaken and notice her presence, she'd simply say something like, "Oh, you're awake?" before turning around and walking away without any explanation whatsoever. Now, let's give you some context here, because this story has so many layers. Britney and Kevin's relationship has been one of the most talked about celebrity romances and breakups in modern pop culture history. The pair tied the knot back in 2004, during the height of Britney's superstardom, and their marriage lasted until 2007. Just 3 short years filled with drama, paparazzi chaos, and ultimately, heartbreak. Their divorce wasn't just any celebrity split, it was an absolute media circus that dominated headlines for months. What followed was an incredibly messy and contentious custody battle over their 2 young sons, a battle that played out in the public eye and added even more stress to an already difficult situation. We reached out to Britney Spears' representatives for comment on these shocking allegations, but as of right now, we haven't received any response. The silence from her camp is definitely noteworthy, especially given the serious nature of these claims. Here's the thing that makes this entire situation even more heartbreaking. Britney's relationship with her sons has been incredibly complicated and strained over the years. It hasn't been smooth sailing, and there have been very public rifts between the pop princess and her boys. However, there have also been glimmers of hope. Just this past June, Britney actually shared a touching photograph on her Instagram account showing her reuniting with Jaden, which gave fans hope that maybe, just maybe, the relationship was on the mend. And if we go back to 2023, Britney opened up to People magazine about motherhood, describing it as an absolute dream come true, and saying that starting a family was something she had always wanted more than anything. But let's rewind to 2022, because that's when things really started to become public. Jaden sat down for a revealing interview with the Daily Mail, and what he said was both hopeful and heartbreaking at the same time. The young man, who was just a teenager at the time, expressed that he 100% thinks that his relationship with his mother can be fixed. Those were his exact words. He believes reconciliation is possible, but then he added something that revealed just how challenging the situation really is. Jaden explained, "It's just going to take a lot of time and effort. I just want her to get better mentally. When she gets better, I really want to see her again." That statement right there tells you everything you need to know about how these young men perceive their mother's mental state. Jaden also revealed another point of tension in that same interview. He mentioned that his older brother, Sean Preston, had specifically asked their mother not to post his photographs on social media. It was a simple request from a teenager who wanted some privacy. But according to Jaden, Britney posted the photos anyway, completely disregarding her son's wishes. And as you can imagine, that didn't go over well at all. During that same 2022 interview, Kevin Federline himself spoke out, and he dropped another bombshell that sent the tabloids into a frenzy. He revealed that both Sean Preston and Jaden had made the decision, and he emphasized that it was their choice, not his, not to attend their mother's wedding to Sam Asghari back in June of 2022. For those who don't know, Sam Asghari was Britney's boyfriend turned husband, though we should mention that their marriage didn't last long. The couple ended up divorcing just last year, adding yet another failed relationship to Britney's complicated personal life. When Britney caught wind of that interview and what Kevin and the boys had said publicly, she didn't stay silent. The Gimme More singer took to Instagram to express her feelings, and you could feel the hurt and frustration in her words. But wait, before we continue, we need you to understand something crucial. What we've told you so far is just scratching the surface of this incredibly complex and heartbreaking story. The revelations get even more intense, and Kevin Federline's concerns about what might happen next are genuinely alarming. If you think what you've heard so far is shocking, you absolutely need to stick around, because the warnings he's issuing about Britney's current situation and what he fears might happen to their sons will leave you speechless. Trust us, you don't want to miss what's coming next. This story is far from over, and the most important details are just ahead, so keep watching. Your understanding of this entire situation is about to shift dramatically. So back to Britney's response on Instagram. She wrote something that really captured the pain and frustration she was feeling. Her post read, "It saddens me to hear that my ex-husband has decided to discuss the relationship between me and my children." You can feel the hurt in those words, can't you? She continued, making a point that any parent of teenagers would probably relate to. As we all know, raising teenage boys is never easy for anyone. And that's absolutely true. Teenagers can be challenging regardless of who you are or what your circumstances might be. But then she addressed the elephant in the room, her social media presence. Britney wrote, "It concerns me the reason is based on my Instagram." It was long before Instagram. She was essentially saying that whatever problems existed in her relationship with her sons started way before social media became an issue. And then came perhaps the most emotional part of her statement. She said simply, "I gave them everything." Those 4 words carry so much weight, so much emotion, so much pain. And she summed up her feelings with just one final word: hurtful. Now, let's talk about what might be the most alarming part of Kevin Federline's entire memoir. Beyond the disturbing knife incident, beyond the strained relationships, Kevin is expressing deep, genuine fear about where things are heading right now, in the present day. In his book, Federline writes about Britney's current situation with what seems like genuine concern and anxiety. He uses particularly ominous language, stating that he believes she is racing towards something irreversible. Let that sink in for a moment. Racing towards something irreversible. Those are incredibly heavy, foreboding words. He doesn't stop there. Kevin goes on to write, "It's become impossible to pretend everything's okay." That's a powerful statement coming from someone who has been in Britney's orbit for so long. He continues with an even more chilling metaphor. "From where I sit, the clock is ticking, and we're getting close to the 11th hour. The 11th hour. That phrase means we're running out of time, that we're approaching a point of no return." And then Kevin spells out his worst fears in plain English. "Something bad is going to happen if things don't change. And my biggest fear is that our sons will be left holding the pieces." Think about what he's saying there. He's not just worried about Britney, he's terrified about what the fallout might be for their boys, for Sean Preston and Jaden. He's picturing a scenario where something tragic happens, and his sons are the ones who have to deal with the aftermath, the grief, the trauma. Now here's where things get really controversial, and where Kevin Federline is definitely going to face some serious backlash from Britney's devoted fanbase. In his memoir, he makes some pretty bold claims about the Free Britney movement. You know, that massive fan-driven campaign that ultimately helped liberate Britney from her 13-year conservatorship? Most people see the Free Britney movement as a positive force, as fans banding together to help a beloved pop star escape what many viewed as an oppressive, controlling situation. The movement was celebrated, it was powerful, and it achieved its goal. Britney was freed from the conservatorship that had controlled every aspect of her life since 2008. But Kevin Federline sees it differently. He alleges that the Free Britney movement was actually more harmful than fans believe or want to admit. That's going to be an incredibly unpopular opinion, especially among Britney's most loyal supporters who worked tirelessly to end the conservatorship. Kevin is now calling on those same fans, the ones who fought so hard to free Britney, to shift their focus. He's asking them to turn their energy and passion towards saving her in a different way. He's essentially saying, you helped free her from the conservatorship, but now she needs a different kind of help, a different kind of saving. In perhaps the most direct and urgent section of his memoir, Kevin writes an appeal that's clearly meant to reach Britney's fans and the public at large. He says, "Now, more than ever, our children need your support." He acknowledges the role he's played over the years, writing, "I've been their buffer for years, but now it's bigger than me." He's admitting that whatever protection he's been able to provide for his sons, it's no longer enough. The situation has grown beyond what one person can manage or control. And then he issues what can only be described as a warning or an alarm. He writes, "It's time to sound the alarm." That phrase, "sound the alarm," suggests emergency, urgency, danger. It's the kind of language you use when you believe a crisis is imminent. Now, here's the frustrating part for those of us trying to understand the full picture. Kevin Federline doesn't offer specific details about what exactly he's worried about. He doesn't spell out what behaviors or situations have him so concerned. He speaks in ominous terms and metaphors, but he doesn't give us the concrete specifics that would help us understand the nature of his fears. However, we can make some educated guesses based on what's been happening in the public eye. Fans of Britney Spears, and really anyone who follows celebrity news on social media, have been expressing growing concern over the past several months about Britney's Instagram activity. The pop icon has been posting a series of videos that many people describe as erratic, confusing, or concerning. These aren't your typical celebrity selfies or promotional posts. Many of these videos feature Britney dancing, which isn't unusual. She's a performer after all. But what has people worried is that in many of these videos, she's dancing completely nude or nearly nude. Now, to be clear, there's nothing inherently wrong with someone being comfortable with their body or expressing themselves however they choose, but the frequency of these posts, combined with the sometimes disjointed captions and the overall vibe of the content, has led many people, including some of her most devoted fans, to wonder if she's truly okay. The videos often feel unfiltered, raw, and sometimes a bit manic. Some fans celebrate this as Britney finally having freedom and control over her own image and social media. Others worry that what they're seeing is someone who might be struggling and doesn't have the support system she needs. Kevin Federline's memoir, You Thought You Knew, is scheduled to hit bookstores on October 21st. And you can bet that when it does, it's going to cause a massive stir in the entertainment world. This book is going to force some very difficult conversations about Britney Spears, about her mental health, about the conservatorship and what came after, about motherhood, about fame and its costs, and about what responsibility, if any, we as a society have when we see someone who might be struggling. The timing of this book is certainly interesting, coming at a moment when Britney's social media presence has already been raising eyebrows and concerns. Is Kevin trying to capitalize on that concern? Is he genuinely worried about his ex-wife and the mother of his children? Is this about protecting his sons? Is it about money and publicity? Or is it some complicated combination of all of these things? One thing is absolutely certain. This story is far from over. The allegations about the knife incidents are disturbing and shocking. The concerns about Britney's current mental state are serious. The strained relationship between this superstar mother and her two sons is heartbreaking. And the public nature of all of this makes it even more complicated. Britney Spears has been living her life under a microscope for over 2 decades. She's given us incredible music, unforgettable performances, and has been through more public struggles than most people could ever imagine. Whether you're Team Britney, Team Kevin, or somewhere in between, I think we can all agree that this situation is tragic, complex, and concerning. What do you think about all of this? Do you believe Kevin Federline's claims? Are you worried about Britney? Do you think the boys will reconcile with their mother? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button if you want to see more celebrity news content, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any updates on this developing story. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.